very interesting to come into this industry, especially if you've worked other jobs or positions, because there's so much of this that's out of our control. And we have to count on so many other people to do their jobs the right way. Welcome to this week's episode of Hey Homegirl. Hey Homegirls, this week we are just outside of Asheville, North Carolina. As some of you know, I got to spend a lot of time there last summer and I absolutely fell in love with it. It was so much like New England in the South, from the tall mountains to the cool breezes to the just amazing people. So today I'm coming to you with Jessica Kitsos, who is an amazing new agent in that area. One of the goals of the Hey Homegirl community is to expose the nation to the amazing female agents that make up our communities. And Jessica's story is just wonderful. You know, she was Rookie of the Year last year for Weikert Realtors. She is leaning into her relationships, and I just think she has so much to teach us all. And so I hope you enjoy this week's episode. Hey, homegirls. This week we are in Asheville, North Carolina. As many of you know, I recently visited there and it's so unbelievably beautiful. And Jessica is with us today. She is newer to the real estate industry, but has had so much success in such a short amount of time. So thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I am very excited to kind of just talk about different things in real estate, just a bit of knowledge, some, like you said, the success and then the downfalls that I've went through and kind of learned and grown through those experiences.
I love that. Whenever you can lead with an open mind like that, you know that you're going to be a superstar, I think. Yeah. So for
Yeah.
any of our viewers that don't know, Asheville is this unbelievably magical place in North Carolina. I'm from New England. I've always lived in New England. And when I got to Asheville, I was like, this is like Vermont, but nicer. I mean, you've got beautiful green hills, you've got small, fun communities, lots of breweries, lots of amazing barbecue. When I was there in July, it was like 70 degrees, no humidity, perfect for the whole 10 days I was there. When I was just there in November, it was absolutely beautiful in the 60s, kind of a little bit like fall in New England, but not quite. And it was just so beautiful.
That is definitely one of the things that I love about Western North Carolina, being here, especially near the Blue Ridge Mountains, is the weather is just, it's perfect to me. It doesn't get too hot, like you said. It doesn't really get too cold. So, although right now we're experiencing a little bit of cold, it's snowing, but it's a weird cold minus a lot of the snow. Cause I'm like, if it's going to be this cold, just snow a whole bunch. But, you know, I've lived here my entire life, born and raised right here, actually in the same county. I lived with my parents. And then when I met my husband, when I was 20, I moved out to where he was living at that time. And I've been in the exact same spot since like 2006. So, and we live right below Mount Pisgah, actually, off the Blue Ridge Parkway. So that's the background. Yes.
Yes, right before Waynesville. So cool.
Yes, absolutely. So we take quite a few trips up to the parkway with our kids. We have 8 and 12-year-old boys. So we do a lot of hiking and the little rivers and creeks that are up there. My little mountain boys are okay with it. They jump right in and swim around. So yes, I don't know that I would ever want to live anywhere else. I love to travel, but I have to come back home to these mountains.
Yeah. Oh, and that makes you like the perfect spokesperson to help people move into your community and fall in love with it too, which it makes for a great real estate agent.
Yes, absolutely. And that's one of the things actually that I'm really thankful for that has helped me be so successful in real estate is my sphere of influence, considering the fact that, like I said, I've lived here my entire life. So I know people from kindergarten, garden, if I can remember, all the way through, schooling and jobs and college. I went to UNCA and got a bachelor's degree. So I literally never left the area. So if I see somebody
career. Yeah.
So when I see somebody, I have to be like, okay, where do I know you from? If I can't remember right off that. But it's been really good. I started a local Western North Carolina Facebook page recently. I'm getting a lot of good activity on that. I mean, starting out, but I've got like right under 100 followers and like right at a week. So just kind of working on that and getting around all the fun little things of you've done too much. You're getting lost locked out. So
But
it's,
you're
but
building that community. So that's beautiful.
yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. And so multiple people that I've kind of already known before in life. Like, for example, a guy I went to high school with, he reached out recently. He's living in Tennessee, but his mom's still here locally. And so he was like, she needs a place. Please help her. Here's her number. And so it's just been a couple, just things like that. People reaching out, like, I see what you're doing on social media and I need your help. And so I love it. I love helping people.
That's awesome. And so you got involved in real estate because you were helping with some property management, correct?
Yes. So I started doing property management in 2017, at the end of 2017. And then by about mid 2018, my broker at the time, my property manager boss, she was like, you've got to get your license, because they actually travel to Mexico from about November to February every year. They did not like the cold even here. So there was a lot of stuff that first transitional winter that she was gone that we were kind of struggling with, because I didn't have the ability to do it. So then she sent me to get my license. So I got fully licensed in January of 2019, and then continued to do the property management through 2020. And then 2021, about mid-year, my company decided they were going to retire. So I had to scramble and find out what I was going to do. And so I met with Weichert and started my training in October of 2021, and did the 3 months of training from 6 to 9, actually, at night. And it was quite interesting working full time. I also have children and a husband, as I mentioned, and then doing the training in the afternoon. So, but that allowed me to go straight in January of 2022 with all my training done and just get right to it. So that was a good part of it. I didn't feel as stressed going into being a real estate agent, because it's not easy at all.
No, it is not easy. When you finally got into it and you started doing it full time, what do you think was kind of the biggest surprise for you? What was the biggest thing that you thought was going to be easy that was like, oh, hell no?
Just honestly, the communication with everybody involved in the transaction. That's one of the things that I also try to really keep an eye on, is each person. Because, of course, I love talking to people and I can't believe how many times you can't get somebody to answer the phone or respond to an email. It's like, it takes 5 minutes, if that, to just keep this moving forward. I mean, even if it's not fun, there's going to be very uncomfortable, not fun conversations, but you have to have them. It's not going to go away when you ignore it. It makes it
Yeah,
worse. So
it does make
I
it work.
just do a little cry, maybe real quick, answer the phone. I'm a big girl panties before I do that. Have the conversation and then scream afterwards. But you can't hit the voicemail or ignore it. So that's one of the things that I felt was most challenging, is just getting a hold of everybody and just having them communicate and making things work and moving through. So that was interesting and still something to work with, but I
Yeah.
understand a little bit more now.
I think it's very interesting to come into this industry, especially if you've worked other jobs or positions, because there's so much of this that's out of our control. And we have to count on so many other people to do their jobs the right way, from the clean out people to the attorneys to the lenders to making sure the homeowners insurance policies are all set. So many other professionals. And when there's a communication gap with one or several of them in one transaction, it just makes it really hard for us to do our jobs. And
Mhm.
that has always been one of the challenges, I think.
Yeah, I just put so much heart into everybody that I work with. And if there's something that happens that's an absolute disaster, I've shed some tears. It hurts
Yeah.
me. It breaks my heart, because their dream, what they want, and it doesn't quite happen. But I do still try to keep them encouraged and just let them know that obviously it wasn't meant to be at this point, but we're going to keep working and we'll find something in the future. And then they'll understand why all of this happens in the past, because that's just generally how life works out in general.
Yeah. So getting started in this industry, growing up in the same area that you were going to do business in, put you in a position where you could start with a pretty big database, which not every agent gets to have. How have you found to cultivate that and maintain it?
So I did start out a little bit at first with some of the realtor.com leads, although I honestly only did about 2 or 3 of those. But that in itself kind of gave me some outside of actionships to kind of start building, just to kind of show the local people that I did know what I was doing, that I am going to continue doing it. I'm not just, hey, I'm a realtor. Oh, no, and now I'm not.
Yes.
So that was what I feel like to kind of start with some of that stuff. But at the same time, I did have, like, my parents had a house, like a rental house they'd had since like I was in 4th grade, but it was time to sell. And it was just conveniently right when I started. So that was one of the ones that I was able to help. I had some church, a lady at my church, her sister had tried to use 3 other realtors that didn't work out for whatever reason, but it was pretty smooth for me helping. So, like I said, just kind of little things like that. And then it's just kind of most recently, somebody in my church they're going to be getting married soon, her and her fiance. And so, of course, they're like, we've got to get going on the house, and we knew we were going to call you. So it's just, just keeping consistent on my social medias, even though sometimes I feel like I'm not doing the best job. Then somebody will be quick to remind me that they see me all the time and that I'm just rocking it. And I'm like, well, okay, I guess it is pretty good what I'm doing. But, I do always try to do a little bit better each day and feel, a little bit more consistent. But that is one of the main things with real estate is you have to be consistent with everything you do.
Yeah. And that's right. I mean, you hit the nail right on the head. It's not posting once in a while. It's finding that consistency on your social media to post regularly. It's not sending one postcard to people. It's not going on one appointment. It's not making one phone call. It's doing lots and lots of little things consistently over long periods of time.
Mm-hmm. Another thing, I read a really good article the other day that was, I can't remember exactly where it was at, but it was kind of titled Advertising Stilettos,
Mhm.
where the gentleman, he told the story about when he was younger and a girl that he really, really liked. And she'd always kind of just, been kind of tom girl boyish, but they went to go out for her birthday and she dressed up really, really nice. And he, in his head, was just going over how pretty she was and how much that he couldn't believe that she had, dressed up in this, that, and the other, but he didn't really, say that much. And then they rushed off to dinner and he would notice that she was kind of sad and she was like, I don't want to talk about it. And then later she said, I don't feel pretty. I did all of this and you didn't even say anything. And he was like, oh, or she was like, you didn't say much. And he was like, but I really, in my head over and over is all I was thinking. And so he was like, I kind of learned from that experience is that, that people, they see and they'll think about you, but our lives are busy. We're rushing off to this as we're seeing it on Facebook, but they see it and they think about it. So just kind of consistently just put it out there and just be genuine. That's another thing I try to do and just kind of post what I have going on in my day, what I've been doing, family pictures here and there, just so it is, I am a real person, we're here local places doing these things and keep kind of working that and building that and just keep helping people and loving every day.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. We're not quite finished yet, but as the homegirl of your hometown, I would love to pass the mic to you so that you can share your story and some of your secrets with the homegirl community. To apply, please go to howtobeahomegirl.com in the show notes. That's awesome. Yeah, and don't be a secret agent. I think that article, has a great story and to, speak how you feel and to let people know that you appreciate them and say hello. And, so much of what agents can do for prospecting, if they don't want to pick up the phone and cold call anymore, talk to the people that you know on social media, say hello to them.
Mm-hmm.
Wish them well, wish them a happy birthday. Those are all gentle reminders that you care about them and that you're in the industry that you're in.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's something my company says is that just call and catch up with people because they know what you're doing and they'll ask about real estate, and then you can talk about it at that point. But just initially kind of just start out with the genuine, how are you? Happy birthday. Like you said, I love the post, great new puppy, kind of things like that.
Yeah. Asheville is such a beautiful area of North Carolina, and you have so many beautiful natural resources, but you have a lot of development right now there too. Where do you kind of see things going over the course of the next 12 months to 2 or 3 years out?
I really feel like Asheville and all of the surrounding areas are still going to be okay despite anything, just because there is so much different, different activities. There's the different jobs, there's the different stuff that, like with like Cherokee, the casino that has, is just building up more. Bryson City, all of these places that
University.
honestly 10 to 15 years ago were super country.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to be there unless you were the country farmers that were out there. So the property values were low because they didn't want to be out there. And that's changing because people are realizing that it is okay to drive, 20 minutes outside of Asheville and be in a countryer setting and just drive in and out of town. So, and then not only that, so Asheville has that bubble, but then all of the other places too, like with Bryson City or Lake Lure, Brevard, like everywhere all around is kind of starting to pop up and have these cool little features. So I don't see that being something that it may calm down, but I don't ever see it going back.
No, I don't think so either. I think that you're going to see a lot of expansion over the next 5 years.
Absolutely. Yes.
What is one piece of advice that you would give to other realtors who are starting out in this industry like you are, or for women that have been in this industry for a long time but are looking for a little pick me up?
Well, okay. So advice, I feel like you have to remind yourself that it's a roller coaster, that I think no matter how successful that you are, you're going to come into those times where you're just not quite closing what you've been closing, whether it's you're not getting the business or the business that you have is just not falling through all the way to close. I had a lot more transactions this last year than the first year that I was representing the selling side. So I was like, oh, it's a set close. And
Yeah.
it's not always like that. I had 2 or 3 selling sides that I was representing that we just couldn't make it work. It was a lot of kind of personal stuff. Once again, I know a lot of personal people. And so, some of them moved back in or stayed living where they were at and just kind of continued to kind of make it work until they could get into a better place. But just understanding that it will be up and down. And if you feel like there's days when there's nothing to do, you can focus on your family or your home or yourself, even just to kind of make sure that you're ready when the business does come back, because it will. I've had days where, like I said, I feel like nobody's ever going to talk to me again. I'm not going to sell another house or help anybody else. All my listings are going to expire. And then the next day there's like 2 messages and when I wake up and 3 phone calls of people wanting to set up stuff or need me in the near future. So, it's all just be consistent and take care of yourself as well. Because that was one thing I learned from my past boss is you can't take care of others if you are not healthy yourself.
Yeah, that's such important advice. And I think, especially for females in this industry, we're taking care of our clients, we're taking care of our small businesses, we're taking care of our kids, we're taking care of our pets, we're taking care of our husbands, we're taking care of our households, we're taking care. Like I'm in this stage now where I have to take care of my mom. And
Yeah.
it doesn't leave a lot of time to take care of yourself, but also remembering on the days that you don't have a transaction to focus on, that there's so many other parts of your business that need your attention.
Yes. Oh, yes. Even if it's emails, like just getting your emails more organized. Actually, though, I just thought about this. I highly suggest that people look into virtual assistants. I hired a virtual assistant earlier this year, June or July-ish, and it's been a game changer. I do have to say that has taken a lot of stress off me because she works 8 to 5 Monday through Friday every day. She's logging in like at least by 8 o'clock. She'll be on after 5 and she gets a monthly salary. And it's like what she makes, she feels so blessed. She's dedicated.
Yes.
She's there for me. And I feel like the value is beyond there for her. And so,
What were
it's
some of
just
the
that's
key things that you delegated for her to do in your business?
I do a lot of reverse prospecting through the Canopy MLS system. So if I don't have activity or have a property go back on the market, I'll pull that list and send it to her. And she sends all the emails out with the MLS sheet. We just did that recently. And there was a 46-page like document that had, multiple agents. Of course, some of them had more clients, but it took her a day and a half to go through and email all the agents and add the attachments. So that was one of the things she was doing that while I was able to it's been working so far. So I'm going to care of some of the attorney issues that I was having
Nice.
to fix with one of my transactions. So it was so good to know like, okay, I'm focusing on these, but she's still trying to pull other business. So that's the main thing that I feel I was able to utilize with her, is being able to kind of just prospect. Like, she's in my KV core, texting people. She'll archive, like if we have a bunch of people that, archive their phone numbers and their emails, there is no need to have that number in my system. So I archive it. If they come back, great, but I'm not going to keep trying to focus on, oh, I've got this many people in my CRM when they're not really even there. So she does things like
She
that.
helps you scrub that.
Yep. Yes. So things like just general smaller tasks that I felt overwhelmed with, that she does and is there to do. And if I'm on showings, I'll keep an eye on Messenger, and she'll be like, send a screenshot. Hey, this person's emailed you. Just want you to make sure you see it real quick. And so you can respond, or do you want me to respond? Send this something back. So that's nice to know that I have her eyes kind of constantly helping watch the back end of my business.
Yeah, I think it's super strong that so early on in your career, you were able to realize the importance of being able to delegate some of the work. You know what I mean? So I've spoken with agents that have been in this industry 10, 20, 30 years. They're doing so much volume and they're trying to handle it all themselves. And then you're not doing anything really, really well,
No.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't easy for me to do that, because I was one of those, especially when I first started, I was like, I'm not getting an assistant because nobody can do my job like I can do my job. And then I had somebody tell me at one point, you're exactly right. They are not going to do it exactly how you do it, but they're going to do it. And you don't have to worry about it. You just have to remind yourself that they have a different style. And as long as it works and it continues to move your business forward, you have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that makes sense, to keep me sane. I'll let somebody else, kind of respond or send some emails, or, she does a lot of my social media posts. But she has me approve it first before she posts, the stuff. But still, it's all I have to do is approve a post. And so it's just nice. But yeah.
That's great. Thank you for all of the great nuggets of advice you've given us today, and sharing some of your story and your love for Asheville. I can totally see why you love to call it home there. And hey, if I can convince my husband to move, I might be calling you up and looking for a job in the near future, because I would love to live there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Once again, like I said, that's why I just kind of keep posting the stuff that I do, because it is a beautiful place. And I am not one of the people that's like, we're too full here. People are going to come. People are going to go. So if you want to come, I'll help you.
That sounds great. Thank you so much, Jessica. I appreciate your time and your knowledge.
Yes, absolutely. Have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.